I'm gonna do a quick video. It's starting to rain again. Temperatures tonight up here in North Central Mass are supposed to, or by tomorrow morning, are supposed to hit somewhere around 25. We, being up here on the hill, could be 3 degrees lower or 3 degrees higher kind of thing. So you never really know what we're gonna get. So that means that there is definitely a big frost potential here. I know a lot of the peaches are potentially at risk again this year. So hopefully before things really take a toll. But for us, garlic is completely cold hardy. The ends might get a little bit burnt by the frost if that happens. It's not a big deal. If you remember, we fertilized on Saturday, and today is, I think today's Wednesday. So these already got that push right before, and what we'll do is we'll come back in after if I'm seeing any damages, and I'll put some fertilizer on to try to really drive the strength back into the plants. The onions, they always look really scraggly at this stage. Onions are good for a frost. It shouldn't be a really hard frost at 25 degrees in theory. So if we were getting down to the teens, then I would potentially cover these, but we're not, so we should be okay. So what I do have that's kind of at risk is the ranunculus. They don't want to be below 25 degrees. You can see Jay was just doing some site work over there. And I have not planted the Lizzies because, again, those are kind of okay to 25. But newly planted, it made me a little bit nervous, so I waited. Plus, they had other priorities. The ranunculus are looking kind of scraggly out here, much better in the tunnel as expected. But what I did is I had Jay move the two back that he had used over in the front to frame up one of the beds he was fixing. And we went and I put all the hoops in here. I've got all the bricks laid out, and then I've got my ag cloth. And what I'll do is I'll put this ag cloth right over it, put the bricks around because we do get high wind, and those should be okay. In the tunnel, we just moved out the tomatoes and peppers that were movable. The ones in the grow bags and the fiber dust bags or tubes are going to stay, but we do have the electric heater on in there set to 60, so pretty much it's going to run constantly. After in like the next hour or two it'll turn on, and then it will just run the whole time. Ranunculus and everything in there should be absolutely fine. I'll show you that in a second. We've got onions here. Radish seed, absolutely fine. Larkspur will be okay in theory, especially being that close to the tunnel. More ranunculus and stalk should be okay. Again, they're close to the ground in a raised bed. They're probably pretty protected. And then the radishes are really what we have over here, and those should be okay. So going into the tunnel, the stuff that's at risk is mostly these grow baskets, because I'm not taking them all down because I don't have any space lower. So yeah, in theory, with the heat rising, they should be okay, but they're also much more exposed because they're not in the ground or on the ground. I think they'll be fine. They shouldn't have a frost in here. We haven't had a frost in here since maybe February, so we should be absolutely fine. The Lizzies I moved up a little bit. Again, they'll be okay in here. This will probably stay about 40 degrees tonight, so I don't really have that much worry, except for, again, these back tomatoes back here have some potential risk. And like I said, I moved all the tomatoes here, and I moved everything off the shelf down in front here to be a little better. We did have our first ranunculus bloom. Let me come over here. Kind of try to show you guys. So this was kind of exciting. This is one of the leftovers from last year. So this side, you can see I've got a pink one coming. I've got more whites. It's funny, the white ones were actually really late last year compared to the pinks, and this year it's a little opposite. These are definitely not as healthy as the new corms that I got this year. So you can see the big difference there. But you're talking maybe a 12-inch stem, 14-inch stem on here, and it is absolutely gorgeous. The smaller one's coming. And then the giant pansies in the back, I need to pick them off again. I'll deal with that later, probably maybe later this week again. I'm still trying to get the 12-inch height, which is my wish list item. I am your reach goal, I guess. But those were about 8-9 inches right now. So technically I could do mini bouquets with them right this second. Eucalyptus will be fine. This was in here all winter long. It's still pretty pliable, but it is rubbery, so it should be good. And Dusty Miller will be fine. Onions in here are absolutely fine. So really, my biggest concern right now, oh, I can smell the eucalyptus now. That smells delicious. That smells really good. So the other parts here are the tomatoes, and you can see I do have buds on this back sun gold over here. A few people were asking me what Bacopa looks like. So here is a little view of one of the flowers here. These are the white ones, and over here there's like a lavendery violet one here. These will drape down kind of like ivy around the whole basket, and will fill right out, so that'll be good. And then the strawberries should be absolutely fine even if they get pretty cold. They're actually, I think there was a baby strawberry started in there, and pansies and violas will be good there. So there's some risk. We'll see how it goes in the morning, but for the most part I think we took care of what we needed to. It's about 60 degrees in the tunnel right now, maybe about 50 degrees out here. So it's going to drop pretty extreme, which is also a stressor on the plants. The other plants I have are over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move them off the marble or stone over there onto the ground, just so the temperature stays a little bit better for their roots. Some of the ranunculus in these pots are doing really well. So these are the Mother's Day pots that I've created. So I'm really hoping that I'll have nice big buds just in time for Mother's Day for those. And I still really need to start selling some of these violas. Some of them are absolutely stunning. Like, the colors are just absolutely gorgeous. They look a little more purple on the film, but they're actually pretty blue in coloring. So I should be posting about those. Maybe we'll have a little Mother's Day sale on those as well. So wish us luck. A couple other things you can try to do tonight is, if you don't have cloth, you have bed sheets, that works. You can keep a sprinkler running overnight, which is a little risky, so I usually recommend to get up and check that. But keeping water on there will help. I saw an orchard that was actually doing little fires around their trees. That makes me really nervous. And the other thing you can do is you can do a big foliar spray right now. The problem is it's going to rain, so that wouldn't really help us. That's what we did last year, and if you look back in our late May deep freeze that we had, I did a very heavy fertilizer, and you could tell which plants I missed with the spray. So all things to consider. So some of the perennials may get a little burnt, but most of them are still pretty small over here, so I'm not as worried. And it does happen sometimes. So one of the frost cloths did have a little bit of holes in it, but I think it'll be okay anyways. It's just really about making sure the frost doesn't hit it. The temperature should be okay with the ground temperature being warmer at this point. So I may come back out if I find the other cloth and throw one more whole layer over, but I did want to share that really quickly. You never have too many bricks around the space. I highly recommend having some out in different staged areas. It makes this much faster work.